And hello, everyone. Welcome to the ONED Student Chat. We are so excited to have you join us, especially if you're Ontario or beyond. Our March chat is on gaming, which is such an awesome topic. So we're really excited to hear the students share their voice and certainly our guest panelist as well. So we're grateful this morning to have with us Michael Willie, who's the producer at Next Level Games. He's our guest panelist, and although he can't give us any trade secrets, we're grateful to him for taking the time to share his perspective on panel with us. We also have student guests. We have Emma from Margaret Twomey Public School in Marathon, Ontario, part of the Superior Greenstone District School Board. She hasn't quite jumped on yet, but hopefully she will be jumping on with us soon. And we have Ethan from St. Clement's in the York Catholic District School Board joining us as well. So if you're joining us for the first time, the ONED Student Chat is a student-led Twitter chat that connects K-12 students across Ontario to discuss topics and questions related to character education, social justice, and citizenship. ONED Student Chat creates opportunities for students to network with each other and gain perspective, build relationships with new learning partners in a literacy-rich learning environment.
Not yet.
We want them to experience social media as a powerful platform for learning and establish a positive digital footprint. So we are ready to go. And we have,
but it's not, is there a way to activate it?
I think we have Emma joining us, but we are just going to mute her microphone for 1 second. So welcome everyone. I'm going to introduce Sam to you, who's going to explain to us how to use our back channels to get involved in the conversation.
So if you're watching us in YouTube, which is an option, you just tap the YouTube icon. You will notice that there is a comment space to your right. This is a great way to share your own thoughts and ideas and add your own thinking to get involved in the conversation. Or you can watch the video from our website and chat with us and other participants on Twitter. You can follow the hashtag ONedSsChat to read ideas, thoughts, and questions shared by others. Also use that same hashtag to add your own thinking and get involved with the conversation. If you ask questions, we'll bring them to the panel. And please remember that the audience for this chat is K-12, so your comments and questions should be appropriate for all ages.
Thank you so much, Sam. And why don't we start with introductions from the panel?
Okay, I think we're in there now.
Okay, there we go.
And this is Emma. Hi, Emma. We are just, it's perfect timing. We are just introducing them.
Yeah, she's in there now.
Okay. And ourselves. So Catalina, why don't you get started?
Okay.
Hi, my name is Catalina. I'm a student with the York Catholic School Board at Cardinal Carter Catholic High School. I'm in grade 12 and I am a bilingual representative on the chat speaking English and French.
Thank you, Catalina. It's great to have you join us. Erin.
Hi, everyone. My name is Erin. I'm also from Cardinal Carter Catholic High School with Catalina in grade 12, and I am an International Baccalaureate student.
Thanks, Erin. So happy that you're joining us today. Darcy?
Hi, my name is Darcy. I attend GDCI in AMDSB School Board. I'm 13 and this is my first year of the chat.
And you're doing such a great job. Sam?
Hi, everybody. I'm Sam. I go to North Perth Westfield Elementary School, and I'm currently in the hallway, so you might hear some background noise. I'm sorry about that.
Welcome. We're excited to have you here. And one of our guest panelists is Ethan, and he's my nephew, so I'm excited that he's on. Can you tell us, introduce yourself, Ethan?
Hello, my name is Ethan, and I go to St. Clement Catholic Elementary School. I'm 12, and I'm currently into developing games.
Yes, you are. And so we're so happy to have you here. And Emma, welcome to the chat. If you could say hello and introduce yourself. We're so happy you're here.
Hi, I'm Emma. I'm from Margaret Twomey Public School. I'm 13, and this is my first time kind of doing something like this.
We're so excited you're here and for you to share your voice. And our expert panelists, Michael, if you can tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Michael Willie. I'm a producer at Next Level Games, and I'm the expert speaker on today's panel.
And we can't wait to learn with you. So that's amazing. Thank you. Darcy, could you share with our participants our tweet and talk norms, please?
I'm not sure if you can hear me, but announcements are on. Can you hear me okay still?
Okay, why don't we get Catalina to share them?
Okay, sorry about that.
That's okay.
Okay, so we have 20 minutes or more to discuss one or several questions. Please be mindful that this chat is open to students in K to grade 12. Active participation from classes who are watching is encouraged and welcomed. All comments made during the chat should be positive and productive. Everyone is entitled to their own opinion. You may not agree with something someone said, but we ask that you challenging an idea, being respectful when disagreeing, and disagreeing with the idea but not the actual person.
Thank you so much. And that's what really makes our tweet and talk, I think, so powerful, that we respect one another's ideas. So thank you. Erin, if you could get us started with the first question, please.
For sure. So our first question is, do you game? Why or why not? And what are your favorite games? And what are your favorite games?
So who is going to get us started here?
Okay, I guess I can get it started just by saying that I've never gamed in my life, besides like playing the basic games on my iPhone. So it'll be really interesting to see what everyone says, and maybe I'll get into gaming. Alors, je veux dire que je n'ai jamais pas faire ça. Alors, je suis très intéressée d'écouter qu'est-ce que mes amis ici vont dire.
Thank you. Darcy, are your announcements over? Do you want to go ahead?
Yeah, they just finished. I can go. Not very interesting. Same with Catalina. I've never actually gamed before, besides like classic like iPhone games. It's not really a conscious decision, just doesn't really interest me, I guess, you know. My brother's a big gamer, so. Yeah.
Thank you. Go ahead, Sam.
Sam can't talk. Oh, never mind.
All right. So I do game once in a while. I play on the PlayStation or computer. I don't exactly have a favorite game. There's too many to pick from.
And Ethan?
Yes, I do game, and I game because it's usually fun and you get to hang out with other people. My favorite games are probably Roblox and Subnautica.
Okay. And Emma?
I play a lot of Minecraft with my brother, and I like it. It's something we can do together. We usually do it like a few times a week, and it's a lot of fun doing it.
Awesome. I'm not a gamer either, very much. I love to play card games, but video games, not really, except Words with Friends, I guess. How about you, Erin?
I agree with Emma in the sense that I only really game when I'm meeting with relatives or friends that I haven't seen in a while. So I think I usually like to play the classic like Mario Kart and Wii once in a while, but other than that, not very much.
Thanks, Erin. And Michael, I assume you game?
You'd assume correctly. So I play a lot of different games, from the pen and paper Dungeons and Dragons to the board games, very typical ones like Catan, and some more obscure ones like Tales of the Arabian Nights. And then, of course, I play video games as well, sometimes just ones with friends, and sometimes the one that I'm working on with my company.
Excellent. So we have the right person here for sure. We're going to get into our next question.
So the second question is, do you think gaming is a healthy hobby? Why or why not? For example, what are the benefits of gaming, and is it reasonable to game every day?
I don't know. I feel like for students, like and especially in high school when you're super stressed, if gaming is something that helps you relieve stress, then I think it's definitely a healthy hobby, because everyone has their own ways of dealing with such problems, especially in school. So if that helps you relax, I think it's wonderful. However, when it passes certain limits, it might get less reasonable because it would take up too much of your free time. Alors, je pense que c'est important d'avoir une balance. Et si les jeux vidéo peut t'aider, te relaxer et t'aider avec le stress à l'école, ça va être très important. Mais si tu joues beaucoup, ça peut être un peu dangereux pour toi et ta santé.
Okay, I can go next. I feel like gaming could easily go both ways. It kind of depends on the game you're playing and who you're playing it with. So if you're playing with friends for like a shorter period of time and the game is making you think strategically, then I think that you could argue easily that it is actually healthy. But I think if the game's like more violent and you're playing alone for like long periods of time and it's making you angry, like consuming your life, I don't think it's really a healthy hobby, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
I agree. I think there's a lot of benefits to gaming, such as building relationships and really thinking outside the box often to meet the goals of the game. However, if it consumes too much of your time to a point where it is stopping you from allowing basic tasks to be a priority in your life, then it can be a problem.
And you're absolutely right. Michael, did you want to jump in on this question in terms of, you know, the overuse of game, the possibility of addiction? Is there any insight you can bring here?
Yeah, it's very interesting. I think you all have a very good lens on what kind of games can do. It's very cool to be playing games. You get to experience a different world, and you get to do things that very likely you wouldn't be able to do in the real life, just because that's what games are all about, is experiencing new things. But if you're doing these things just by yourself, multiple hours a day, and ignoring the other tasks or the other things that you should be doing, then it gets to the point, or more towards, addiction. And when you're looking at something as an addiction, of course you're looking at it pretty negatively. But it's important to be able to set some stakes in the ground of, okay, well, I find that I'm on my phone all the time, so I'm not going to have it next to my bed, because if it's next to my bed, I'm going to be looking at it. I'm not really going to be sleeping. I'll be staring at my phone until I fall asleep. It's about setting those boundaries, or those barriers, between yourself and the action that you find to be addictive. And that goes for gaming, but that also goes for a ton of non-gaming things too. Is if you're encountering something that you think is an addiction, or you think is negatively impacting your life, it's good to put barriers up. But if something is positive and is actually helpful, and this could be gaming as well, especially if you're gaming with friends, it's a big community experience, then removing those barriers is just as important.
Those are some really good points, Michael, just to be mindful of. Thank you so much. Sam, did you have anything to add?
Yeah, once again, it's loud, but I'm going to go along with the role that we have right now of, yes, it can be good, but it also, if it takes too much of your time, if you're forgetting to do things in a day, if you don't have enough time to do things in a day because you're gaming, it can be, that's when it's getting too much. But it is good for your brain sometimes, because you're strategically doing things in some games, and some games aren't as good for that. But there are games that you're thinking about things more than what you would be doing if you were watching YouTube, for say. So sometimes you have to balance everything. you have to balance what you're doing. The same thing goes with social media. It can be a good thing, it can be a bad thing. It just all depends on how much time you spend on it.
Absolutely. And Sam, you are looking on Twitter today for any responses. Are there any responses from Twitter you'd like to bring in?
Yeah, we had a few answers from question 1. Mr. De Bruno's class said, yes, they game sometimes. We game because they're entertaining and we can play online games with friends. Some of their favorite games are Super Smash Bros., Fortnite, Roblox, Minecraft, Paladins, Pac-Man, and Legends of Zelda. There's a few others that are same, don't game much. That's about it.
Okay, thank you so much. And before we go on to the next question, Ethan or Emma, would you like to contribute anything that hasn't been said, or have we sort of covered it? Okay, Emma, go ahead.
I like some games you can do teamwork, like different games like Minecraft. If you're building something, you can get other people to help. Fortnite, there's like the multiplayer games where you're on a team with people. You work with other people, so it improves the collaboration in that sense. But like pretty much everyone has been saying, if you let it take over your life, if you do too much of it, if you get kind of obsessed with it, then it's not really worth playing. It's just ruining your life basically.
Thank you. Absolutely. And go ahead, Sam, for the response from Twitter.
So there's one more from Mr. De Bruno's class for question number 2. Yes, they use games in the classroom sometimes, such as Minecraft Education Edition, Prodigy, Reflex Math, Scratch, and that kind of stuff. They like learning and having fun at the same time.
Thank you. All right, so let's move on to our expert question. Erin?
Perfect. So this question is for Michael, and it is, what advice would you give to students who are interested in game design?
That's a very interesting question. Thank you, Emma. I'm sorry, Erin. My apologies. So students who are interested in game design. So I've actually learned, I have a friend who on the weekends goes and teaches students, think around grade 3 or so, about programming in video games, and essentially is using free software available to anyone online that how to make games, so he's taught them how to program basic games or basic versions of Minecraft or League of Legends or Fortnite, and really trying to engage the students that way. So one is there's programs out there that you can get into if you're interested in games. It's never too early to start, and even if you're not joining a program, there is quite a bit of software and YouTube tutorials, and again, all this software is free. That if you're interested in getting into game design, it's really just watching some videos, and you can start the ball or get the ball rolling. Additionally, when you're thinking of game or game design, it's not all oh, how does the level look? How do I want things to feel? There's a lot of different ways that you can get involved in game design. I myself am a producer that's more like a project manager at my company, but I work with a ton of different people, from designers to programmers who get into the code, to artists or 3D artists who essentially build the art and make the world look the way it does. Then, of course, there's some a little bit lesser known things, like there's visual effects, making the cool kind of effects. So when you're creating something, or you swing a sword and there's a cool particle effect that shows up. And then lastly, of course, is audio. When you're playing a game or listening, anything that you hear is someone's job to make. So there's a lot of cool ways that you can get involved, and it's really easy to get involved. So that's a lot of fun. and it is a lot of hard work, but you've all done hard things before. So if you're interested, there's always a way to get engaged there.
I have a quick question, if that's
Yeah.
okay. So what inspired you, or how did you decide to pursue this career?
So I was quite interested in games at a young age. I grew up with the Nintendo 64 and the Game Boy, so I brought the Game Boy with me as I was like going in the car, you know, holding it up because it wasn't really lit too well, so I had to try and play with the light of the car that was showing in the window behind me. So I got really into playing games, and especially with video games. But then I also realized that it's not just video games. There's board games, there's sports. These are all different forms of games. Like if you're going out and you're playing soccer or football, depending on where you're from in the world, then that's just as much a game as sitting on a computer and playing Minecraft. So I saw that there's a ton of different things, or there's a ton of different ways that you can play games, you can engage with others, and that really interested me. So I turned that passion of mine and what I had into learning and studying at university as well as an individual program, and then turned that into a career where I work with 100-some people, and we're making video games.
When you can turn a passion into a career, that is indeed the best thing ever, isn't it? Thank you so much, Michael. Erin, let us move into our next question.
So our next question is, has your teacher ever used gaming in the classroom, and describe your experience?
Yes, I can answer that, because Erin and I had a common experience earlier this semester. Our economics teacher in our grade 12 introduction to business class found a video game, I don't even know where he found it, where we basically had to allocate resources for a family for each year and try to keep them alive in a basic African village. So let's say some of us did not make it past the first 3 years, while others went, I think the max was 15. So you had options to how much money you allocate for food, how much time you allocate for, I don't know, different agriculture activities, if you want to have kids, how much money you're going to pay for doctor visits and stuff like that. So it was a really good way to not only practice everything we learned so far in economics and management, but also to make it fun and interesting, because our economics is a subject that can put you to sleep pretty fast. So it was a very different and interesting experience.
I am sure that your teacher is not happy about that last comment, but what a great great opportunity to learn and teach with games. Darcy, go ahead.
Sure. So I've had 2 experiences where gaming has been like a way to learn in the classroom. The first one, I was in grade 6, and we used gaming as a different angle to teach us coding through like an app, which that was actually really fun and exciting. And the second one was in grade 7, and I actually had her in grade 5 too, the same teacher, and that's what she would mark us on our collaboration skills with classmates. She would give us a really complex task to complete and a success criteria, and then she split us into groups of people who didn't really talk a lot or know each other very well, and then she would give us like an hour to complete the task on like Minecraft or different platforms. So that was really interesting, and you got to meet a lot of different people like you didn't really know in your class, and like figure out how to complete the task together. So that was interesting.
Wow, and so it was a way of meeting both of those examples,
Yeah.
a way of meeting your curriculum expectations, but in a more engaging way.
Yeah.
Emma, can you share what you have done in the classroom?
So our teacher uses Scratch in the classroom, which is a coding program. So we recently did in science, we did a unit on global warming and climate change. So we had about a week to make a project, make a little video, make a game or whatever on Scratch about climate change, and then we would just share it with the class. Everyone could go on the game and see each other's little projects or whatever. And it really worked out well for like just to be able to share what we've learned in the unit.
Great ideas. Sam?
Yeah, my teacher last year used Scratch in the classroom as well. Mostly it was about problem solving. We also used EV3 Mindstorm robots for like programming, because you have to use problem solving to fix your programs and decide what's wrong and what's right and what needs to be changed. And we were always put in groups, so it was also a part of collaboration. So there was always a little bit going on, and we had some fun with it as well.
Awesome. Collaboration, fun, getting work done. Sounds awesome. Ethan, I know that you haven't used gaming in the classroom, but I remember you and I were talking about an experience of one of your friends. Can you share that with us?
Yes, one of my best friends actually have made a whole series of books off of a game.
So he
made his own characters, he made his own like pictures, and he made the whole.
Oh, and he's stuck. But that sounds awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. All right, so do we have anything from Twitter to share, Sam?
There's not much here. There's one from the last question. There's just some things about stereotypes. Gamers are obsessed with games, lazy, frustrated, that they get frustrated or angry, and that they just play games to relieve stress, they are some stereotypes about gamers, but they're not all necessarily true. And I thought I would just add to the panel if anybody had anything to add to that.
Thank you. And actually, I think stereotypes is one of our slow chat questions, and Catalina is going to tell us a little bit about that later. So that's great. All right, Erin, why don't we go to the next question then?
Awesome. So our next question is, what are some suggestions for staying safe while gaming online with others?
And who would like to start this conversation?
I can start, I guess. This might seem kind of ironic because I don't know a lot about gaming, but I feel like there's kind of some ground rules in anything you do online. So never give out personal information to anyone, even if you think you might know who they are. And maybe don't talk angrily to anyone on gaming sites, because that can always escalate the situation. And it's not really the end of the world if you lose a level or something. And if you get angry at someone, if you lose a level or something like that, then that's actually a real world connection with someone else, and that can escalate more than losing a level would escalate. That makes sense.
No, those are really, really good points. Anyone have something to add?
I have something that would be good to add as well. So I think that's very well spoken, Kendra. It's definitely the least kind of thing you can do is escalate a situation if you're getting into arguments online. And it's very important to stay safe, not give out your personal information when you're gaming online with others. Essentially, what you could kind of see is when you're gaming online with other people, treat it as if you're playing a game of baseball with someone, or playing a game in person. You wouldn't yell at someone in person or like be unsafe with them when you're playing in person, so you shouldn't be doing it when you're just online.
That is a really good way of looking at it. I think sometimes we always look at the offline-online dichotomy, and we need to remember that offline and online are enmeshed, right? That these are people behind screens playing these games. I remember a friend of mine, she, she played with her son, right? So I think that's an important thing too, right? That if you're just playing by yourself, online, you may run into issues that you may not realize are an issue. But if your parent is beside you and you're sort of playing together, then it's a different experience, and then the parent can ask questions or whatever the case may be. Is there anyone else who would like to add to this question? All right, so I just want to thank everyone for being here. And Catalina, maybe you can give us some concluding thoughts.
So just to wrap up, thank you for everyone for joining us today on our ONed Student Chat Tweet and Talk. It was wonderful to have a panel of so many different people sharing their experiences, since there are some of us like me that never played really much games, and we have people that are really into that, making it into a career. So it was really interesting to hear what everyone has to say. We're encouraging everyone to share the information about gaming and answer some of the questions on our slow chat for the rest of the month. So you can always share what you think on social media on our website, which is ONedSsChat.com, as well as on Twitter, as I previously mentioned. And please watch for details coming soon about our next student chat on April 9th at 10 a.m. Again, thank you everyone for joining us, and see you online soon.
Thank you, Catalina, and thank you so much, Michael, and our guest panelists, Emma and Ethan, for joining us, and our student leaders who are always inspiring and awesome. Have a great week, everyone, and see you online.